So a user named Toby2 said, let's talk about death. What are your opinions on it? You know, what do you think happens after you die? If anything, you know, so on and so forth. And I've actually been wanting to make a film about this for a long time, and actually it's come up in my mind many times over the last few years I've been here on YouTube, because back in 2008 my father died, and I wanted to do a video about ghosts and how ghosts don't exist, because we took over his house, and then there's never been any paranormal activity or anything like that here. You get creaks and cracks and groans and grunts, but all of them have had identifiable marks, you know, identifiable things to go with them, if you rationally seek these things out. And so, Toby, I think you know where this is heading. My thoughts on it are completely based in reality, and I've done actual research on death and how we die. If we're lucky enough, we do see the tunnel of light, and we may see relatives that have gone before and things like that. If we're lucky. That's if we don't have a safe fall on our head and squish our brains instantly. That's if we don't get blown up by an IED in Iraq or something like that and get our brains blown to bits instantly. That's if we don't get a bullet to the head and all the neurons are disrupted in the brain and there is no function from there. Do you see what I'm getting at? Heaven and hell and all these things are kind of all in our head. And that's what's been scientifically shown, is that these things, what happens is when your brain gets starved of oxygen, the optic nerves begin to shut down. That's what gives you the tunnel vision. And since there's no more blood flow to the optic nerves, it strips them of color, and all you're left with is white. And then that, of course, fades to black. So, you know, seeing the tunnel vision and stuff like that, that is very normal, and that happens to a good percentage of people when they die. Doesn't happen to everyone, though. It depends on how you die. If the brain dies first from some traumatic experience or from some disease or illness or drug interaction, then that's not going to happen for you. If the heart dies first and the brain is still conscious, then it can happen for you. You can see these things in these visions. But the basic bottom line is there isn't an afterlife of any kind, because, quite frankly, we're evolved apes. And we like to take comfort and solace in thinking that there's an afterlife, that there's something better than the drudgery and day in and day out of this existence. But that's more of an intellectualization so that we can get through our day-to-day lives without going absolutely batshit crazy and everybody committing suicide. Because, and I'm not saying that that's necessary, I'm saying that you can get over that concept too. You can get past it. I myself have, my wife has, most atheists have gotten over the concept of heaven and hell and an afterlife in general through their intelligence, through the rationalizations, through the logical proof and evidence that science has shown us about how life is. It takes time, and it's not easy, and I wouldn't even say it's a joyous prospect to dump your ideas of, oh, I get to go to Valhalla now because I'm Norse. That's what I used to believe. So, you know, it's not easy getting over these concepts, and it's not necessarily a joyous thing, but it is reality. And if you want to live in reality, then that's what you got to do, is you got to ditch the superstitions and ditch the folklore. Realize how many different heavens and hells there are by, 40,000 different religions that are currently on the planet. And once you realize that, it's pretty easy. But I want to leave you with a bit of hope. I want to leave you with a bit of good news. Imagine, if you will, how lucky you are to even be here contemplating that question. Because imagine your egg and your sperm cell getting together and creating you. How immense were those odds? For one, it was 1,000,000 to 1 on the sperm meeting the egg to make you. That's 1,000,000 to 1. What if your dad and mom hooked up the night before or the night after? The sperm that was to be half of you may have died off, may have not been as strong, may have not been as developed. It had to happen at exactly that time to get you. How lucky you are to be you. And I'm glad you're here with us. And I'm glad everyone that gets a chance to contemplate this question is here with us. It shows us how truly unique and special we are. It's not divine destiny. I'm not trying to put any of that in. I'm trying to demystify it by saying, if your dad and mom hooked up 12 hours before or after, or a day or a week later, it wouldn't be you. And how many millions upon billions of people have never even had the chance to be born? That should make you feel good. And it should also make you feel humble. And it should also make you feel privileged to be a part of this universe. Thanks for watching.